Welcome to the Prophecy Club. It's Friday afternoon, and hopefully this is the last time you will have to see the red curtain in the background and me use this crummy Logitech microphone located on top of my monitor. Hopefully by next week we'll be back to where I can use the good microphone, as I have had several people email me saying, "You sound like you're in a box." Well, it's a crummy microphone. But my mixer went out. The new mixer is supposed to be here Saturday. So hopefully the Tuesday broadcast will be back to normal, and hopefully you appreciate the professionalism and the trouble I go to bring you a professional program. Okay, topic, save the world. You will eat bugs. Crazy. You know, these evil people in high places do think we're crazy, and they actually do think we're going to eat bugs. So I'm going to be speaking Saturday, April the 6th, and it's in the DFW area, and also Sunday, April the 7th, at the Hear the Watchman Conference in the Dallas area. And you can find out more about it by going to Prophecy Club. And we got a nice big button right on the front page there. You click on that, and it takes you over to Hear the Watchman. You can sign up. The only thing is, you better make sure you have a hotel room before you leave your house, because we are in the shadow of the eclipse, and I understand that hotel rooms are almost all gone in the DFW area during that time. So make sure you can get a room before you leave. Anyway, John Paul Jackson, to start us off here, has had several newspaper headlines, and they sound like they're from God. Some of them, he says, regarding us eating bugs, is blight of grain spreading. Drought continues to cause prayer to rise. Record high temps accompany record drought swept south. Demand for classic seeds skyrockets. Food prices lead nation's escalating inflation woes. Cisco and Kraft considers guards on delivery trucks as food nears 40% of the family budget, and food prices lead nation's escalating inflation woes. And I put that on twice. I should have deleted that. Then, perhaps you remember this, back in 2021, there was like 180 food processing plants that had been destroyed all around the nation. I pulled that up. Actually, I did a search through past PowerPoints for Tyson, and I was shocked to find out how many of them are talking bad about this Tyson. And here's one of them, and there's a lot more. Before we go on, I encourage you to subscribe. Also, join Prophecy Club, $9.90 a month. That's not much, but hopefully it'll help us through the hard times that apparently are about to hit. Also, if you have an IRA or a 401k, or you just want to get gold and silver, we encourage you to call 1-800-200-GOLD, 800-200-GOLD. Mention Prophecy Club when you call. Since we're about to be talking about food, and food shortages is a large part of what we're talking about today, I'll encourage you to go to Joseph Kitchen, because most of your other long-term storage foods, you're talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year, but you can do it at Joseph Kitchen for about $1,000 per person. I don't know anybody who can beat that price. Anyway, let's go on. First headline: Associated Wholesale Grocers prepares to close distribution facilities in Tennessee and Mississippi. Okay, now this was back in 23. I'm kind of laying a ground here so you can understand where we're going. Then Chris Reed comes along in 2022. Number 3 says food shortage crisis, right here. Wheat and bread imports are at a stalemate. Jump down here. Then he sees a new currency for a renewed nation. Simplicity restored as Americans begin to grow their own food again. Everything shows that there's a big food shortage coming. Now let's jump on Tyson. let me just say, I'm not against Tyson. I'm not saying they're a bad company. I'm not even saying they're doing bad things. But they certainly are in the watchman's eye here for doing a lot of things that are bad concerning food. So let's get on to it. These are what these other people say. Tyson Foods to lay off corporate and senior leadership workers, memo says. Tyson Foods will eliminate about 15% of its senior leadership roles and 10% of its corporate roles. Why? They want to save money. Why? Because they're investing in technology. Why? Because they want to require its corporate workers in Illinois and South Dakota to move to Arkansas. They're asking them to move. They want to keep their job. And it's closing meat packing plants in Van Buren, eliminating 1,000 jobs, yet it makes $13.2 billion in sales just the first quarter of 2023. So, when they're making that kind of money, is it really all about saving money, investing in technology? Oh, or is there a darker side? I'm going to get to it, and you're going to be shocked. Another article, Tysen Foods shut 4 more U.S. chicken plants. Now, this is back in 23. 4 more U.S. chicken plants. And, of course, as a result of this, the work performed at the plants, they're moving it to newer facilities closer to its customers, if you buy that. And also, they've closed 2 other chicken plants with almost 1,700 employees and said it's going to eliminate about 10%. It's already said that it's going to eliminate a bunch of jobs. Another one, different, huge company, Smithfield Foods, closed 35 Missouri hog farms. Well, if they aren't butchering the hogs, they don't need to grow the hogs, right? The world's largest pork producer, Smithfield Foods, is closing 35 hog farms. Tysen Foods announced it's closing 4 more chicken plants, 3,000 jobs. Missouri beef processing plant to close. This is in 2024. And it's losing 35 jobs, 700 jobs, 1,500 jobs, 35 hog operations, and 92 people out of jobs. Okay, so what are they doing with those jobs? I got an answer. Tysen Foods is shutting down 4 more chicken plants. I think that's the same report. Chicken slaughter capacity, 29 local farmers who own chicken houses supply to the facility, along with grain growers who produce chicken feed, all going to be hurting, because if you're not butchering the chickens, you don't need to grow the chickens. If you don't need to grow the chickens, you don't need to grow the grain in order to feed the chickens. See what I'm saying? They're shutting down our food supplies. That's what they're doing. And this should allow us to be more efficient, they say. Last days, you remember the Bible says that they will abstain from eating meat. 1 Thessalonians 4:1, now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith. Oh, surely not. Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats. Commanding to abstain from meats? Why would they do that? Well, maybe there's something in the meat, or maybe the meat has simply been removed. 3 reasons why lab-grown meat must be stopped. The globalists really want us to eat bugs. They really do. They want us to eat meat that was cultured in a petri dish. They want us fearing cows, farms, unprocessed foods, because supposedly these components of a healthy food chain supply are causing climate change. Now, never mind, climate change is caused by scalar wave. You remember scalar wave. This is an antenna array, one of which is probably in Antarctica, another one is probably in North Dakota, and the Russians have one, the Japanese have one. Truth be known, there's probably 10 of them around the globe. And using this scalar wave, it does not go like from A point to B to C like, say, radar or light does. It is interdimensional. It leaves point A, it skips B, C, D, E, and it arrives at Z. And you can't track it. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know who even sent it. But it can make large parts of the atmosphere super hot or super cold. What does that do? Well, it causes big heat snaps, droughts, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, earth changes, volcanoes, earthquakes, all kinds of things that can do with scalar wave. So they use scalar wave to create climate problems. Then they say, well, in order to solve the climate problems, we've got to get rid of you. You're the problem. Okay? If you're human, you're the problem. You and also those cows that have this gas come out of them, because that's very dangerous for the climate. Right? Save the world, kill the people. But people are actually buying it. 3 reasons Nelson cited as the threats coming from these promoting lab-grown meats are, and they give 3 bad reasons, skyrocketing beef prices. In other words, this is how they're going to get us to start eating bugs. So if you get rid of the chickens, get rid of the beef, get rid of the pigs, and there's nothing else to eat, would you eat bugs? Oh no, not me. Well, wait a minute. Before the first mass-produced lab-grown beef products are distributed in the United States, beef prices have already begun going up dramatically. Beef inflation is outpacing price hikes in other foods, and we have yet to feel the full effects of the challenges facing the cattle industry. As the powers that be push for lab-grown meat, they will not allow ranchers or food distributors to mitigate price hikes on beef. In other words, they're causing the problem. People in high places above president that rule the world, which, by the way, another prophecy, a large prophecy ministry, a ministry larger than our ministry, got their channel deleted. Why? Because they said the M word. So it's reminding me, don't say that M word. These are the people that had the golden calf when they came down off of Mount Sinai. I remember when Moses came down off Mount Sinai, they worshiped the golden calf. That's the people, okay? In fact, they'll do whatever they can to make beef, real beef, cost prohibitive so they can force fake beef into the masses. Well, it's not just fake beef. Unknown health risks. The protein is essential for people to survive and thrive. Lab-grown meat mimics real meat protein in ways that cannot be predicted. They're rushing to get them out on the shelves even though there is no long-term studies about adverse reactions or health dangers. It's like the old sugar substitutes that were revealed to be carcinogenic decades after being distributed to the masses. The difference between sugar substitute and meat substitutes is that the lab-grown meat is far more genetically modified than fake sugar. So it's worse. But they're going to get us to eat it, they think. Then ranches will be taken over or shut down. Why do you think the Chinese and other foreign entities are buying up all of our farmland? Why do you think Jeff Bezos and, what's the other guy, buying up a lot of the farmland and also our water supplies? If they control the food, if they control the water, they control the people. Remember what Kissinger said, he who controls food controls the people. He who controls energy can control entire continents, but he who controls money can control the world. There's a growing anxiety in the cattle rancher industry that their life's work is under attack. They're not being paranoid. Cattle ranchers across the country and around the globe are being targeted. As one Texas rancher told us, it feels like every deck is getting stacked against us, and the cultivated beef they're pushing is their kill shot. They go on to say 5 reasons, this is a new article, 5 reasons why eating insects could reduce climate change. Oh, we want to reduce climate change, which you can't do because it's not the climate causing it, not people causing it, scaly wave causing it. The World Economic Forum is committed to publishing a wide array of opinions. Now, this is who the article is from. These are the globalists. These are the people above president that want to put their man, the Antichrist, on the throne. It says, our consumption of animal protein is the source of greenhouse gas and climate change. Lie number 1. Insects are an overlooked source of protein and a way to battle climate change. Lie number 2. The consumption of insects can offset climate change in many ways. Lie number 3. WEF, or the World Economic Forum, here are some reasons you will eat bugs. This is straight off of their website. 1. Edible insects could produce equivalent amounts of quality protein when compared to animals. Line number 1. Insects require less care and upkeep than livestock. Well, I don't really want to find out. 3. We're running out of protein. Yes, if you keep killing them, killing the chickens, killing the pigs and the cows, yes, okay. Insects are part of a virtuous ecocycle. So we want you to start eating bugs. Why? Because they want to kill you. There's another article, I couldn't find it, that says that actually eating bugs, there's a certain poison in them. So, I mean, they're not designed to be eaten by humans. What humans are supposed to be eating is wheat. Tysen Foods, again, faces boycott after report claims company hires migrants. Okay, so now it looks real bad when Tysen has been laying off people and shutting down plants, and then all of a sudden this comes out. Now, let me just say that Tysen has denied this emphatically, so there we go. The article says Tysen is planning to hire migrants to work in its factories. Conservatives reacted with an outrage to a now retracted Scripps News article claiming that the company was hiring some of the asylum seekers who arrived in New York City. Tysen Foods responded to boycott calls in a statement saying, this is Tysen. In recent days, there have been a lot of misinformation in the media about our company. We feel compelled to set the record straight. Tysen Foods is strongly opposed to illegal immigration, and we lead the way in participating in the two major government programs to help employers combat unlawful employment. Okay, then why are you shutting down so many plants, Tysen? Why are you laying off workers, Tysen? Especially since you're making so much money. And who really owns Tysen? I'm afraid to look it up for fear it might be BlackRock and State Street and the other globalists. Goes on to say Tysen Foods does have a partnership with Tenant Partnership for Refugees, and in 2022 committed to hiring 2,500 refugees. Okay, so they say they're not doing it, but other reports say, oh, yes, they are. I don't know. I'm not beating up on Tysen. Tysen is closing his facility in Perry, Iowa, and laying off 1,200 workers. Instead, they plan to hire thousands of new illegals in states like New York. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, a Republican voice, is disappointed about the decision to shut down the plant in Perry, describing it as a great big punch to the gut in remarks to the Des Moines Register. Liberal state declares war on small farmers and homesteaders. War on food is spreading. Small farmers are under attack in Beaver State, which has begun shutting down family farms throughout the state under the guise of water conservation and groundwater protection. That's right. We've got, it's so stupid. Okay. What they're really trying to do is get their man, the Antichrist, on the throne. And the way they're trying to do that is kill all of the Christians so that they won't have any resistance to putting the Antichrist on the throne. That's where they're really going with this. The owner of Yanasa Ama Ranch shared a 20-minute video explaining what's really going on in Oregon as bureaucrats erroneously classify small family farms and homesteads as, listen to this, concentrated animal feeding operations. I thought that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? Any feeding area that has concrete, rock, or gravel floor falls into this category, which of course can include most all of them. So Oregon is shutting down our food sources. So if you live in Washington, Oregon, or up in that Northwest, you better go to Joseph Kitchen and get yourself some food, because if the government has their way about it, they're going to shut it down. Oh, yes, it's true. If you have 2 or 3 milking cows, the rancher explains, you're now targeted by the state for closure. The rancher explains in the video the state of Oregon has effectively shut down small farms and market gardens on a large scale, and they're actually sending out cease and desist letters to farms. Now get this, and they're using satellite technology to find their victims and send them letters to say you can't operate. Most of these anti-farming, anti-private property laws start in places like Washington and Oregon, but they end up spreading to the other states. It's just a matter of time. That's probably true. See, he says depopulation is the goal of the globalists. I disagree. I think depopulation is a goal on the way to the goal. First of all, they want to kill everybody. That's what the devil wants to do, especially Christians, especially the Christian nation America. But why? Because they want to put the Antichrist on the throne and kill anybody that doesn't worship him or take his mark. That's their real objective. There's no other explanation behind the rabid lust for World War III, the relentless pushing of toxic vaccines, harmful chemicals sprayed in the atmosphere, and put in our food and our celebration of abortion and all things LGBTQ+. Oh, yes, there is another explanation. It's called getting the Antichrist on the throne. Jeff Bezos demonizes farming and invests $1 billion in fake food production. At the Aspen Ideas Climate Bezos Earth Fund, they spend a lot of money. Why? Because they're growing lab-grown meat. Yeah. Former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn predicts a Black Swan event before the 2024 election. He says a Black Swan event. Now, you know what a Black Swan is, okay? So the whole world thought there was no such thing as a Black Swan. The whole world thought there was only white swans. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, here comes this Black Swan. So a Black Swan event is when something happens that was totally surprising. Remember, Michael Boldea said that the second snake bite came from an unexpected area. Now, we believe that that particular one is talking about suitcase nukes, and I don't think suitcase nukes are coming this year, although I wouldn't rule it out. But I think it's mostly talking about a big earthquake. That's the big thing we're looking at right now. There's no way they can win a legitimate, fair election, so let's not have one. He says, I'm predicting that some type of event will cause some dramatic shift in what is happening. Guess I'm not the only one predicting some type of black swan event. Ron Paul said that they're reaching this point where some sudden thing is going to happen with severe consequences that cannot be predicted. Yes, it's going to pop up and it's going to be not controllable. Jews to rebuke Jesus again. Okay, so I can talk a lot about this here at the coming, but they're about to sacrifice a red heifer. What does that mean? Well, Daniel 9:27 says, in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. That means in the middle of the 7-year tribulation, the Antichrist is going to sit on the Ark of the Covenant, that's the abomination of desolation, proclaim himself God, and tell the Jews to stop animal sacrifice. So one of the ways we can tell when that's getting close is when they start animal sacrifice. Well, wait a minute, they haven't sacrificed animals in Israel for almost 2,000 years. Yes, and that's my point. So if all of a sudden they have a red heifer, which is required to purify the priest, the sacrifice of a red heifer, all of a sudden they have one, and guess what? They're planning on sacrificing it next Friday. According to this article, that's what it's saying. So animal sacrifice could start conservatively by the end of April. What else happens in April? Well, let's see. We got April 25th. There's a counting of the Omer starting, and it ends July the 13th. Lastly, was told Omer ushers in Palestinian state. We don't know for sure if that's the same Omer, but probably. So if the Omer ushers in Palestinian state, if the Palestinian state is given sometime before June 14th, it would be no later than June 13th of this year. That's the fulfillment of the first one. And that means the second headline is probably coming shortly after, and that's catastrophe hits America. We don't know exactly what the catastrophe is, but based upon all the other prophecies, it is probably a New Madrid earthquake. And as, I guess I could flip over there and show you some. All right, tell you what, I guess I will. Hang on. So this is part of another presentation. This is from the DVD, which you can watch instantly at watchprophecyclub.com, called Catastrophe, Meteor, Tsunami, and Earthquake. Prophet Efren Rodriguez was shown in a vision that a large meteor will hit near Mon Island, just west of Puerto Rico, causing a tsunami 1,000 foot high at Puerto Rico, but it'll go from 200 to 400 foot high as it hits the east coast of America, inland from 20 to 100 miles. And it hits an earthquake fault running up the Mississippi River Valley to the Great Lakes, splitting America from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico and much of the west coast from California to Alaska to fall into the ocean. This is a map I pulled off the internet that is pretty much describing what he's talking about. Don't worry, there's more. Then I came up with another DVD. So I did some research. If this is true, it's got to be that God spoke it to somebody else. Here's what I found. My research found 6 people saw a large meteor hit near Puerto Rico. That's pretty specific. 4 people, a tsunami hit east coast of the United States. 6 people saw America split into 2 pieces. 3 saw large chunks of California fall into the ocean. 12 people, now the count is up to, saw that America split because she split Israel. Further, Warren, you split my land, now I'll split you. Split yours. Bowler, if they split Jerusalem, the big earthquake will split America down the middle. Snodgrass, if America wishes to divide Jerusalem in half, America should be divided in half. Salvarage, U.S. would turn against Israel and force Israel to split Jerusalem. Durham, North America was divided into a large body of water and lost much of both the eastern and western coastline. Sklar, I'll divide America down the middle. Kirkpatrick, Israel belongs to the Lord, and if you divide his land, he will divide your land. Perez, If America splits my city, Jerusalem, I will split the land of America. Meteor causes earthquake, tsunami. Leslie, in her vision, said she saw a tsunami hit the East Coast 20 stories tall. That's 200 foot tall. Augusto Perez, tsunami hit the East Coast of the United States. It'll go inland from 20 to 25 miles. John Johnston. Wave 300 foot high. Marie Sklar, southeastern U.S. giant tsunami. These are some of the maps that I pulled off the internet. This is one that Leslie says is most like her vision. Now, she didn't see anything out here or over here in the west. This is what she saw here, but that's still devastating. Here's another one. If you notice, East Coast, down the center, West Coast, every one of them. West Coast, center, East Coast. East Coast, center, West Coast. West Coast just about gone here. Down the center and East Coast, just about gone. Almost every one of them, same thing. East Coast, center, West Coast. West Coast, center, East Coast. East Coast, center, West Coast. West Coast, center, East Coast. West Coast, center, East Coast. How many more of these I got? I think I got a bunch of them. West Coast, center, East Coast. West Coast, center, East Coast. West Coast, center, East Coast. So, is there a chance that we're going to get an immaculate earthquake this year? I'd say there's a very good chance. I would even put it as high as maybe 90%. If we split Israel, and as you know, everything Biden is doing, they're all saying, not just Biden, but all the nations of the world saying, you got to give the Palestinians a state. Well, that's God's land, and when we split God's land, God is going to split our land. So what I'm trying to say is, I think that one of the things that are going to cause a lot of people to start turning and listen to this ministry is when there is an immaculate earthquake, and when it does happen, among the 49 days of the counting of Omer, which is between April 25th and June 13th, if we've got our moon calendar correct, then there'll be a lot of people start turning and listening to Prophecy Club. Sad it has to happen for that reason. Let me talk about our three sponsors briefly. First, if you want to get gold or silver, we're going to send you to 800-200 gold or prophecyclubgold.com. prophecyclubgold.com. Second, if you want to get long-term emergency food, the only place I would send you to is josephskitchen.com. It is what I believe is God's long-term storage food. As you recall, Pharaoh and Joseph, what fed the world for 7 years was wheat. Most of your long-term storage places, $9,000 to $10,000 to feed one person for 1 year. Joseph's Kitchen can show you how to do it for about $1,000, one person, 1 year. And EMP Shield. If you want your car to start, if you want your computers to start after some kind of nuclear event, that's the device to get. And if you go to empshield.com and use the promo code PROPHECY, get your $50 discount and help your Prophecy Club.